the end of the day, selling is transferring a feeling. If you don't have the feeling, you can't transfer it. If you don't have a good, positive feeling, dude, you're an actor. You have to sell and run your business from a place of positivity. And however you get there, God bless you. Welcome to the Pete Primeau Show. It is episode 189. And we will surge forward with Gordon Hecht today. Gordon is a senior regional manager at Strategic Retail Group for SSB, and he is going to answer a lot of really good questions about how we finish up 2024 super strong. Before we get to Gordon, let's pay the bills really, really quickly. If you haven't bought my book, what are you waiting for? 101 tips for furniture and mattress store owners to sell another $1 million or more this year. It's on Amazon. I think it's $15, guys. If you need ideas, it's literally cafeteria style. I recommend that you actually read the last chapter first. If you have any questions, call me at 419-560-3169. I'll help you implement anything absolutely free. No strings attached. Also, I would like to thank Steve and Greg at the Mattress Industry Network group for sponsoring the show. If you're in the mattress industry, we want you in this group. It's over 2,600 strong. It's a great group. It's run by retailers for the benefit of the entire industry, whether you're a VP of sales or you own your own sleep shop or you work on the sales floor and you're a sales pro. It's a great group to learn how to market, how to sell, how to merchandise. It's a great place to meet new people. Sometimes business owners feel like they're all alone and they don't have anyone to talk to. This is a great place to ask questions and learn from people that do the same exact thing you do. So it's a great group. Join the group. And I would also like to thank my friends at Wingo Coaching. I went to the very first masterclass and I am going to this one as well. I will be flying into Nashville on the 23rd and I will be there until the 25th. If you want to increase your door swings, maximize your business performance, and become the kind of store that your community wants to shop at, this is the place for you to be. It's literally, this is what you walk away with, guys. You walk away with a playbook, an entire playbook. This is the playbook that Scott Vaughn wished he had 19 years ago when he started in business. And now you can have it right now. And that discount is over. So you're going to pay $9.99, but it's worth every penny. Jump right into wingocoaching.win or call Scott Vaughn and join us there. It's going to be a great event. The first one was unbelievable, and the second one will be even better. So join us there in a couple of weeks. Gordon, welcome to the show.
Well, thank you, Pete. I appreciate your time, and I want to thank you and Chris for having me on. I also want to thank your sponsors for supporting this incredible show, and a little shout out to Paul Call, who I know for many years, and a true gentleman in our business who connected us.
Absolutely. Paul, I was going to mention that. You beat me to it, Gordon. Paul introduced us. I think was it at the AVB show or was it at Nationwide?
You know, it was in Vegas. I know that.
It was in Vegas.
I'm going to say Nationwide.
I'm going to say Nationwide too. But it was great to meet you. I've always wanted to meet you. I've been following you for years, and you are an absolute breath of fresh air in an industry that's not always as exciting as I'd like it to be. You've got over 40 years like I do. I think you're probably pushing on 50, right?
So 51 on Memorial Day this year.
Got me.
Yeah.
51. I am nothing but a rookie. I'm going to sit back for the rest of the hour and just take notes. So go ahead and talk.
All right. So 51 plus years ago, I graduated high school, Clark High School in Las Vegas, Nevada. And That was on a Friday. On Saturday, I got a job at a store called Jay's Furniture, Carpet and Appliance, and I was a delivery helper. And I learned a lot there. I earned $2 an hour, and for that $2 an hour, the main thing I learned was I learned how to work, which meant showing up on time, in uniform, ready to go. I learned how to pack a truck, deal with customers. I change the way the door swings on a refrigerator. What I love to tell people is I did that all the way through college. My senior year of college, I got a job selling, and I did that for about 8 or 9 years. But my handwriting got so bad they made me a store manager because they couldn't read my invoices. Uh, and then after 4 or 5 years of being a store manager, nobody could stand me in the store, so they made me a multi-store manager. And shortly after that, I went colorblind, so they made me an upholstery buyer. And after that, I did connect with Ashley Sleep, Ashley Furniture Home Stores, and Ashley Sleep. I was the second person hired for that group, and that's what got me into the mattress business. And 10 years ago, this month, I joined Serta Mattress, which is now Serta Simmons. And I tell people I have the best job at Serta Simmons because I help independent retailers get into the mattress business, or if they're already in the mattress business, improve their sales and through display, technology, advertising, operations, etc.
That is so amazing to me that you started off on the delivery truck. Some of my mentors started off on the delivery truck. God rest his soul, George Cooley. He started off on the delivery truck and he was doing a good job. And the store got real busy one day and they put him on the floor. And it was trial by fire and he did really well. And they never put him back on the truck. He was just one of those people that was a natural, and he never looked back, and he had a great career. And I love when I hear somebody starts off in retail. I love it even more when someone tells me they started off on the truck, because you learn everything you need to learn about how everything that you do as a salesperson affects the in-home experience of that driver, right? Like if you forget to put a bed frame down, you forget, like when we used to write things on an invoice, right?
Right.
When you forget to write down if there's removal or no removal, and then the customers got you moving their whole house around. And that still happens to this day. I'll see a post every now and again, and it's like, oh my Lord. So let me ask you this. You have the opportunity to work with a lot of independent retailers right now. And, 2024 has not been the easiest of years. And the question that I'm getting, Gordon, constantly, and the question of the day right now in Mattress Industry Network Group is, what should they be doing between Labor Day and Black Friday?
So typically we say there's not a lot going on. I don't want to go fishing when the fish ain't biting. But I live here in Florida, and there's people that depend on fishing for their livelihood. And when the fish ain't biting, what they do is they use better bait and more of it. So this is the time to promote when your competitors are not promoting. There's always something going on right smack in the middle of it. You have Columbus Day. People sleep every night. People need mattresses every day. The number one piece of advice I could tell retailers is this: invest in your website. Make sure you have a world-class website that's interactive and e-commerce ready. And the reason I say that, Pete, when you and I started that many years ago, here's how we used to advertise. We'd be in the newspaper, or we'd do direct mail, and we'd have a coupon, and we'd say, bring this coupon in and get 5% off or get free delivery. And if we got 20 coupons in, we knew 20 people saw our ad. And that's how we judge it. People went from the media to the store. Today, no matter how you advertise, billboards, radio, TV, direct mail, the very first place they're going is your website. They're not coming into your store first. And if you don't have a brilliant website that's entertaining, that's informative, they're not coming into your store. If you have a website that just calls for pricing, they're not calling. They're going on to the next website. So that would be step number one. And the second step is don't take your foot off your gas. Advertising is not an expense. Advertising is an investment in your business. And you've got to budget it. You've got to make sure that you're making the right investment to continually get people into your store.
That's that's the first thing that suffers, Gordon. That I'm going to save my bait. I'm not going to waste my bait. But the destructive element that it has is you're not out there anymore. And if your competitors are out there, you've just eliminated yourself by abdication. And it's unnecessary. There are different ways to advertise, and sometimes we use more guerrilla methods, sometimes we use lower cost methods, but we always have to be out there. And I love don't take your foot off the gas. I think it's very important to understand that the engine of the business is advertising, and you can't take your foot off the gas. If you do, you're going to start to die a slow death. So I got to tell you a funny story, Gordon. Years and years ago, I'm not going to use the name, but I walked into one of my dealers and he said, Pete, he goes, I didn't spend any money in advertising last week. And you want to know what happened? I said, no, what happened? He said, I almost did as much business as I did the week I spent advertising. Now, I could take 20 minutes telling you this, but every 2 weeks, I went into a store. Every 2 weeks, he told me he hadn't spent any money in advertising. Every 2 weeks, he told me he just did a little bit less, but he's still making money. All the way, Gordon, on my father's grave, this is the truth, till he went out of business. It was so predictable. And I'm saying, how much less can you do? I don't know if I really want to be in this business anymore. Yeah. And I'm like, you just committed business suicide. And it's like, it didn't need to be this way. Maybe he just wanted out. I mean, this was back when business was good, Gordon, that this happened. And, I grew up, my first boss was Bob Sherman at SuRGe, and there's not a bigger promoter of continuous advertising than Bob Sherman. So, I mean, I went to the school that you went to as well on that.
The nice thing about our times right now in 2024 is the cost of advertising has dropped. If you've got $25, you can advertise on Facebook and you can hit 2,500 people in your neighborhood. And the nice thing about Facebook is you can very much target your market. So if you want to hit females between 25 and 45 years old, you can advertise just to them. And if you've got $67, you can advertise via mail. You can send out 100 letters to your 100 best customers and offer them a $100 gift certificate just for walking in the store off of any purchase that's $199. So you don't need to spend thousands and thousands in advertising. There's no reason not to be out there every day. I have dealers that use Nextdoor. They're hitting their neighbors. They're contacting their neighbors. I have some dealers that go through 2 years worth of invoices, find everybody who didn't buy an adjustable base and do a box spring buyback. So they say, I'll buy back that box spring from you for $100 and sell you an adjustable base for $5.99. And I'll even come out and bring it out and get rid of your box spring. But we really don't want your box spring back, so why don't you just buy a mattress to go on top of it? So You don't have
You
to
just
spend thousands every week. You can spend hundreds every week.
you just gave everybody a diamond. And so I just want to like take that off and polish it up just a little bit. Did you hear what he said? Go through your invoices, call your customers that didn't buy an adjustable bed base, offer to buy back their box against an adjustable bed base and deliver them an adjustable bed base. Go dial for dollars. That doesn't cost you anything. It's effort, it's work, but there is money there with literally no expense. So instead of sitting there not doing anything, dial for dollars. That is huge, Gordon. So Chris Tahaney says, my boss at Dream Fit, I have to read this, right? Like if I don't, I'm like fired. Chris, senior VP at Dream Fit, says, I just want to say thank you to Gordon for being one of the best influences I've had in my time in the mattress industry. Whether it's during his time way back at Ashley or a buying group show or his weekly column that drops in my email box every Wednesday, and mine too, Chris. Um, Gordon has always delivered great takes and professional courtesy. He's a hero. I absolutely agree, Chris. Wow, what do you say to that, Gordon?
Well, Chris is a gentleman. I thank him very much. And I want to give a little shout out. Chris works for a company called Dream Fit. They are absolutely the finest sheets that are available in the market. There is nothing even close to them. Some of them are fairly expensive in the marketplace, but I've had customers at retail that have come back and bought multiple and multiple Dream Fit sheets. Try and say that in one three times fast. But I can't say Chris Tahini, so I will say that he's just a terrific friend. I love viewing him on LinkedIn. He goes all over the world, and I can sit in my chair and travel with him.
Yes, he does that. And now he has brought some of the world into, he's got a foreign exchange student from Poland in his house. So it was really exciting to see in Gardner's Mattress and More. I'm betting this is Jeff Janakovo. Regarding buy a base and we take your box spring. If you have a CRM tied to your sales invoices, you can program this out automatically. We do this at the store. Happens like clockwork. Oh, that's a great suggestion that really ties into the phone work as well. I like them both. I like them as a step. So, you might send out that email first and then you start with the phone calls after that. I love that. Bill, I agree on the website, but if retailers get their information from an API feed and the content is not good, then what? They got to create their own content. And Bill, and by the way, Bill, thanks for being here. You're one of the gems in our industry as well. And with AI and learning how to use the proper prompts, I think it's easier today than it's ever been. But it is work. But I'm going to let Gordon answer that question. I'm sorry, Gordon. I answered the question before you even got a chance.
Well, I do agree with you, Pete, and uh, you don't have to be a website expert. You can find a website expert. If your company that you use is not delivering to your expectations, act like one of your retail customers and say, I want it to be better. You need to fix it for me. One thing I do recommend to all retailers, every morning when you get into the store, one of the first things you should do before making coffee is look through your competitors' websites, see what they're offering, see what their deals are, see what their financing are, and read all the fine print. What's their asterisks mean? And keep a list of that. So when that customer comes in and says, I saw the guy down the street had it, $100 less, or I saw the guy down the street at 72-month financing, you already know what the disclaimers are and you know how to react to that. But beyond that, You'll also see what other people are doing with their websites and make notes of what you like. Make sure you have a chat feature on your website, a video also, and a way for that customer to easily reach you. And look outside our industry. There's some incredible industry websites in the clothing industry, automobile industry, other retailers like Best Buy and so on, and duplicate the things you like. The best website designer that I've seen is a guy named Xerox, and so it's okay to copy.
So I couldn't agree more, but I've got one point of contention with you. Really, Gordon? Before coffee? Come on,
Yeah, well,
that's rough, man. That's rough.
that's
But
well, all right. While the coffee is brewing.
you are a taskmaster, my friend. So 15 or 20 years ago, I got in early. It was, I think our sales meeting was starting at 9 o'clock. And so I got into JV Schultz Superstore in Erie, Pennsylvania, 120,000 square foot showroom with 50 really great sales pros on the floor. And it was maybe 8:30, 8:15, and they're all like at their computer. I'm like, hey guys, what's going on? Yeah, we got to do this damn research. What are you talking about? Yeah, Jonathan DePrenzio, our VP of sales, he won't let us on the floor until we do 10 minutes of intel on our competitors. This is like BS. I know it sounds like brilliance to me. Yeah,
Mhm.
but you got to do it every day. And I laughed. I said, I walk into Jonathan's office. I said, well, congratulations. You're the first store that I've heard doing this. I'm sure that in a few years, every store will be doing it. And here is the thing. You listen to this, Mr. and Mrs. Retailer, right now, and you heard it here, and you're not doing it. And so instead of saying, duh, that everybody should do that. Yeah. But ask yourself that one tough question. Do I do it? And do I do it every day? And that is the difference between being a professional and having to dive deep and take extra time closing sales, because now you got to go to the website you should have gone to before you even opened the door, uh, before you even had your coffee, if you're listening to Gordon.
Well, I want to tell you, Pete, from my retail days, and of course, back when dinosaurs roamed the earth, and we had to get on our horse cart and go competitive shopping. I love to competitive shop and see what people were doing great, see what people were doing not so great. But some of my greatest days in retail was when that customer came in and said, "I was down the store. They have the same merchandise for less," and and I had been in that store and I knew what the difference was. I was very fortunate to spend 10 years with a really great retailer in Ohio called Sofa Express. So you may remember them.
Yep.
And we had a particular very hot selling sofa and it was in a reddish color print fabric. And we sold it for $7.99. I saw it on Futons for $199. I saw it in Value City for $3.99. I saw that same fabric on sofas for $29.99. And when that customer would come in and say, I just saw that same sofa for $199, I had to remind them, well, it's the same fabric, but mine does not bend back and become a bed. It's a sofa. And anyways, you will appreciate having that knowledge when that customer comes in and you can explain the difference to them. And by the way, if you're a multi-store operation or a multi-sales operation, you can assign one person to do that exercise every day and share it with the staff. So it's not where everybody has to do it every day, but one guy could do it on Monday, and then somebody else does it on Tuesday, and just make sure you share it and post it.
And that last little piece, that was huge. Share it and post it. Um, in my retail days, my first 9 years in this business, I spent in retail, Gordon, and I had the privilege of working with just a phenomenal professional salesperson. His name was oh my lord, Angel Gutierrez, and he was one of my best friends. And he would shop the competition every Thursday and Friday. And on Saturday morning, he would tell the 13 of us at our store what he saw. And it was invaluable. It was invaluable from in a multitude of ways. Number one, it showed me what being a true professional was. Being a true professional heavily depends on helping other people be the best they can be. So he could have kept that information to himself, but he shared it with the other 13 salespeople. And number two, just the effort and the dedication, that there was no such thing as just a day off that he was just not going to work at his craft. He was constantly working, except when we went fishing, which was a blast. But this idea of intel, this idea of sharing, scouting reports on the internet and in person, it's just incredibly huge. Chris, can you pull up some of those comments? There was a couple. There was one that was really Joe Clay, my roommate at in Nashville. Wow, this is gold. It absolutely is. Gordon is bringing it. And is that Louia? How do you
That
say that?
that's Louis.
Louis. Gordon sold me a dining room set in 1980, and I still have it. Thanks, Gordon.
Yep. He still has three
That
payments left on it, but he still has it.
that is incredible. That is incredible. That is really, really good. So that goes to something I wasn't even planning on talking about. When you have somebody that bought from you 40 years ago and they see you here and they want to give you a shout out, that means you did it right. And so it's not just making the sale, folks. It's how you make the sale. Do you make a friend when you make the sale? If it's yes, then you're doing it right. If it's no, you might want to reconsider your tactics and how you're going about your business. Professionals have a way, a bedside manner, if you will, that people love doing business with them. And that is something we all have to work every day to master. And I am just like sitting at the feet of Gordon right now and drinking this up. And the proof is in the pudding. 1980, I was in college. I wasn't selling furniture. I wasn't selling mattresses. I was going to be a pro football player. Didn't happen, but I thought I was going to be anyway. So that is just awesome. And it's such a testimony not only to your effectiveness, Gordon, but how you do it. And I think it matters. I think it matters now, today, more than it ever has.
I want to tell you a short story, or as short as I can make it. So, my father graduated high school in 1950, Samuel Tilden High School in Brooklyn, New York. And not that many years ago, 8 or 9 years ago, I saw his yearbook. And in the yearbook, all the seniors got to write down what they were going to do for their profession after high school. The number one thing that the boys in high school were going to do after high school was be a salesman. And I found this shocking. I can imagine, Pete, if you and I went to any high school graduation this year, it would be zero people that wanted to be a salesperson. But the overwhelming majority of them were. And I asked my father, I said, that's so weird that they would do that. And he said, in 1950, most of the college slots were taken up by World War II vets. They were on the GI Bill. There was no such thing as student loans, so you either paid for college or you didn't go. And for those who didn't go, their fathers didn't want them to be blue collar workers. They wanted them to be white collar workers and not have to work with their back and their hands, but work with their minds. So it was either work for the government or be a salesman. And you and I, if you started in 1982 or 1983, and I started selling in 1977, we were really fortunate that so many of these people on the floor, and they were mostly men, but there were women too, that they were the people that selling was their profession, and they treated it like they were a doctor or a lawyer or an accountant, and they studied it. And I remember when I would work with customers, if I didn't sell them, there would be a debrief with one of the senior salespeople and they would say, you know what you could have said, or what was the customer's objection, or did you remember to talk about financing? Did you remember to talk about delivery service? Did you remember to talk about the extended warranty? And then if I did sell them, they would say, you know, I didn't think you were going to get that customer. What did you say? And I learned so much from them. I had so many tremendous mentors that selling was their profession. It wasn't their job till they found their real job. It was what they did for a living. And one of my mentors, he was a World War II vet that spent his whole life selling. He taught me things that I remember to this day, which was people will buy from a friend, but cannot be sold by a stranger. People love to buy, but they hate to be sold. So always give your customer the power to buy. Don't try to sell them. Give them the power to buy. And all things being equal, people will buy from people they like. All things being unequal, people will buy from people they like. So become their friend, get to know about them. The 5 or 6 minutes that you spend before you show them merchandise piece number one is so critical to their buying history with you. And we love it because we all say, if we go to a great restaurant and we say, we had the most fabulous server, you got to go to this place. Or you might even say, you know, I had to call a plumber. I was so scared to call a plumber, but this guy showed up on time. He brought in his tools. He fixed it. He didn't try and rip me off. We're going to tell our friends and neighbors about that. And it's the same thing in the furniture and mattress industry.
So good, Gordon. Thank you for that. Years and years ago, I was writing an article for my blog, and I asked two different salespeople, one in higher end furniture sales and one in more promotional furniture sales. They were the best in a 6-7 state area. And I said, what would you tell people are your secrets to success as a retail salesperson? They both laughed at me, and they both told me that they would tell me, but I wasn't going to be able to write it. And I said, well, why can't I write it? Because I'm the only one who does it. So here these guys are, they're hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of miles apart. They don't know each other. They don't sell even like items. And they both said the same exact thing. They said a version of this. I go deeper than any other salesperson. I learn more about the customer than any other salesperson, and I make them my friend. And by the time they walk out the door, I know their kids' names. They know my kids' names. I share with them. I talk to them. Pete, you can't write that because they'll laugh at you. And I said, no, you guys they both made great points. And they both had a hunger to understand the customer completely and totally. They want to know exactly how this furniture was going to be used so that they could make sure that they help them get the right furniture. And and they had this natural curiosity. And I think curiosity is a superpower for salespeople. And we really, Gordon, we don't talk about this enough. You do, but most sales gurus don't talk about curiosity and really wanting to understand it and know your customer. Like, it sounds weird, but really like loving your customer, like you care about them deeply. You want them to get the right thing. And because of that, it's not that you just want the sale. Of course, you want the sale, but you want to make sure they get the right thing. And you're not going to be happy unless they do. And going deeper than what other people would think is safe is probably some of the secret sauce for a lot of the best sales pros that we've seen. What are the other things that they do that are different? And if you disagree and you think it's something else, tell me what it is, because I'm here to take notes. I'm a rookie, man. I only got 43 years in this thing. You
Well,
got
one day you'll
51
catch up
years.
to me.
I want to make notes here.
Okay. Uh, so here's a question that store owners and store managers can challenge their salespeople with. How would you sell on the retail floor if you had $1 million in the bank? What would you change if you had $1 million in the bank? So your next bag of groceries doesn't depend on that sale. Being able to pay the rent or the power bill doesn't depend on that sale. And I had that question posed to me when I was very young in sales. I was probably 22 years old, and I had one jacket, two ties, and three pairs of pants. And I worked at a Drexel Heritage showroom. And I was asked that question, and I said, well, if I had $1 million in the bank, the first thing I would do is concentrate on one customer at a time. I wouldn't look over my shoulder to see what the other salespeople were selling or who the next person come in the door. I would concentrate on the person that was in front of me. I would ask all the questions that I would need to know the answers to help that customer make a wise decision in their home furnishings purchase. I would absolutely tell the truth on every part of the sale. If that customer asks, how long does it take to get? I wouldn't tell them 6 to 8 weeks. I would tell them 8 weeks. Because what I learned, if you tell them 6 to 8 weeks, they're marking the calendar at 5 weeks and calling you and saying, did it come in? Did it come in? Did it come in? If we just tell them 8 weeks and possibly 9, and it comes in at 6, we're a hero. And I would absolutely make sure the customer was happy with their purchase. I would send them a thank you note, or these days I would text them a thank you note. And if you sell that way, if you concentrate on what the customer wants and not what you want, you will get $1 million in the bank. I can promise you that.
So good. So good. Um, so towards the end of my retail career, I was working at a place called Cronheim's Furniture in Cleveland.
Mm-hmm.
And John F. Lawhon had just written his book, Selling Retail, and he was doing the training, and I was one of the trainers. And the initial training, and the first time I read the book, I had always sent thank you notes, handwritten thank you notes, to people that bought from me. But I found out from John F. Lawhon that the very, very best, that's not what they did. The very, very best retail salespeople in the world, they send a thank you note to everybody they wait on, that they get their contact information for. And that is the difference between being $1 million shipper and a multi-million dollar shipper, or even hitting the $1 million shipping mark. And, so I changed, and I was only in retail a few more years. But that made an incredible difference. I want to tell you a funny story. I worked with a customer and I couldn't close her because she was what we called back then a one-legged customer. She needed to bring her husband back in. So I was overjoyed when later that night she brought her husband back in, just like she said. I thought for sure that I was going to close it, and I couldn't close it. I was really, really, really frustrated, Gordon. I was young. I was frustrated, but I got their contact information. I sent them a lovely thank you note for stopping in. And they had bought at Furnitureland right next door. Like, people would park their car in the middle of our two stores. That's how competitive it was. And they would shop at Cronheim's, and then they'd go shop at Furnitureland, and they'd usually buy at one of those two stores. So here they come waltzing in 2 or 3 weeks later, and I'm like shocked. And I had even remembered their names, which escape me now. And I called them by name, and I'm thinking it was Ed and Donna. Um, and I said, Ed, Donna, I thought you bought somewhere else. And they said, we did, but we just got our money back and now we're buying from you. And so after we got done with everything, before I said goodbye, I had to ask him the question, right? I had to ask him. So, Ed and Donna, what made you decide to come back here and buy here? And they said, Pete, you sent us a handwritten thank you note and we didn't even buy anything. They kept coming up with excuses of why they couldn't deliver when they promised their delivery. They never sent us a thank you note. And we figured that if we're going to be waiting, we might as well go ahead and go with somebody who values us. And I'm going to say this to you. You know, this is over 30 years ago now, guys and gals. But that level of connection with a customer is more important today than it was 30 years ago, because people are starving for attention. They're starving for connection. These things right here, they're the damnedest things I've ever seen in my life. We think we're more connected. We are less connected. I mean, guys, people are sitting on a park bench with this phone up to their face and they don't even hear the birds singing next to them. I mean, what's happening is a little bit sad. And sorry, I'm going off on a tangent, but this connection piece of it and this thankfulness piece of it is incredibly huge. So don't overlook the fact that our friend Gordon said thank you notes really quickly. It's super important. It is literally how you can build a more successful career. Texas Mattress Barn. Glenn, is this you? I think it's Glenn at Texas Mattress Barn. Yes, always tell the truth and you never have to remember what you said. Yeah, 100%. First impression is the only impression. Love the show every week. I can listen or watch. Always great guests. Gordon is knocking it out of the park today. So thank you, Gordon. You've been awesome.
Well, I appreciate it, Pete. You know, I've been told that I have a face made for radio and a voice made for magazine. So I appreciate this time. I do want to tack on, though, about the thank you note. So I learned this from a retailer. They send thank you postcards. And it's not because of the cost, but there's so much junk mail that they felt that if they had a note in an envelope, it would just, people would see it and, you know, it's from a furniture company, let's just throw it in the trash. So they went to a postcard with a picture of the store in the front and a short note on the back. And people will read a postcard. So you'll save about $0.10 in postage. But the more important thing is your message will get read.
Make notes, guys. I mean, this is gold. He says it like it's nothing, but this is huge. And this other piece, make sure they're happy. If I had $1 million in the bank, I would make sure they're happy. Whether you have negative $1 million or positive $1 million, make sure they're happy. That is gold, absolute gold. Because if they're happy, you're going to be happy. And what are the 3 things that you need to be successful in retail today? You need the customer to refer somebody like them. You need a positive review, an authentic, preferably 5-star online review. And what else do you need? You need the testimonial, review, and a referral. Those are the 3 things we need to be successful in today's retail. And those are the things that you get from happy customers. You don't get those from customers that are unhappy. I know I'm beating the heck out of the obvious here, but it's really important that you get this. And then I've got to go back to the one before that. You said it so quick. Ask all the questions that you should ask to make sure they get the right thing. Underlying all of this is this idea of caring deeply for the customer and caring more deeply about the customer than the actual result of the sale. And when you care deeply about your customer and you're thorough with your questions and you're creative, the sale takes care of itself, folks. It really does. At least all the ones that you should have. And you'd be amazed. Jeff Janakovo and I were on a phone call earlier, and I said, one of my early bosses told me, Pete, you're doing really well. Do you have FU money? And I said, I don't know what FU money is. He goes, if anybody ever asks you to do something you don't want to do or you don't agree, you could say FU and quit and not have to work for 2 years. I said, no, Tommy, I don't have that kind of money. He goes, before you buy a new house and a new car and fancy clothes, which you're all entitled to buy, and I want you to buy every one of those things, because I want you to put away that money. And if you don't have that money, pretend like you have it in the bank. If you had $1 million in the bank, how would you sell? I don't think there has been a better question ever asked on the Pete Primeau show in 189 episodes. That is the question that every one of us, whether we're reps or whether we're retail salespeople, how would you sell? Would you sell more thoroughly? Would you sell more caringly? Would you follow up more? Yeah. And would you worry about, stacking the floor up and being a floor shark? No, you would just take one customer at a time and concentrate on that one customer at a time and making them happy, and then going on to the next customer after that. And by the way, that is the secret to working a fast floor. The secret to working a fast floor effectively is to work your system thoroughly and methodically and uncover all the gold that is there. Because the best customer that you're ever going to wait on is the customer that gives you the Heisman when they walk in the door and they say, I don't need any help. Leave me alone. Why do they do that? Because they're close to making a buying decision. And a little form of insanity happens when a customer is closer to making a buying decision. The customer that wants all the help in the world at the beginning probably is not going to buy. But the one that pushes you away hard, probably going to buy. My friend, we could talk for hours and hours and hours, but we are in our last 10 minutes. And I want you to talk about anything that you want to talk about, Gordon, anything that's near and dear to your heart. It looks like you've been busy as all get out, creating wonderful displays and helping business people get happily involved in the mattress business. Yes, Scott Montague. And by the way, Scott Montague is one of my best friends and a real gem. Was one of my mentors at SuRGe when I worked for SuRGe. Gordon the Great. That is appropriate. Absolutely. Hey, Gabe. Hello to you as well.
Well, again, Scott is a gentleman, and I did have the privilege of working with him for about 8 years. And we get to meet every once in a while in the Atlanta airport and lament about not getting an upgrade and having to sit in coach for the 11-hour flights that we have to go on. But here's two things I do want to talk about is the programs that I represent. Two different programs, both sponsored by SuRGe Simmons Bedding. The first is called America's Mattress. The second is called the Mattress Shop. America's Mattress is a store in a box. It's everything you need to start and operate a mattress store. We provide a fully functional e-commerce ready website. We do 99% of the maintenance on it. We have a catalog of advertising, or we'll custom design advertising. The couple of videos that you've shown or Chris has shown during the call, we've produced those in-house. I do the script. We have a wonderful graphic designer named Jeff Joyce that makes things look amazing. And we have another gentleman, Stephen Day, who does the voiceover for us. or you can provide your own voiceover if you want. We help you get into business. There's no franchise fee. There's never a royalty fee. We co-invest with you. Our second program is called the Mattress Shop, and that's for legacy retailers. So you've been in business 25 years, 30 years, and you continually see your mattress sales drop. And what we will do for you is we build a store within a store. Hey, Andrew, good to see you. And we build a store within a store. Both programs come with a cloud-based interactive sleep selection system. So we can get a customer comfortable on a bed. The system asks them a few questions that the salesperson should be asking. How many people in bed? How many people share the bed? Does anybody snore? Do you sleep under the covers? Do you sleep over the covers? All that kind of information do you read in bed? And it does not suggest a specific mattress, because then if it's the $5,000 mattress, the customer's going to say, oh my gosh, what a shock. But it'll suggest a technology and comfort level for those. In that program, again, we invest. This is one of the showrooms on the screen in Spruce Pine, North Carolina. That particular store is in a step-down basement. When we got that basement, it had tan walls. It had the same carpet that your grandma has in the basement. And we did all the wall graphics for them. This is a video that they show on their website. We created the video. They had to provide their own kids to jump on the bed. We do not provide that. Not part of the program. But if you're on this call and you think you want to get into the freestanding mattress business, please get a hold of me. If you're on this call and you sell bedding and you see your bedding drop down in sales over and over again, and you're losing to independent retailers, let us redo it for you. Overall, we have almost 200 locations. We started the Mattress Shop program about 7 years ago. Pre-pandemic, we had 6 stores. We just opened up store number 47 in the U.S. And so we've got, I think, 10 stores slated to open within the next 6 months. So it's a continually growing process. And we've got a lot of happy retailers.
And do they get your professional advice?
Whether they like it or not, they get it. And I'm at a point in my career, and I think for the last 5 or 6 years, that I will tell you what you need to change. And it could be anything from making sure that the men's room and the ladies' room look clean and polished, the parking lot, your sign up above, how your salespeople dress, how they're answering the phone, and ways that you can save money, cut down on inventory, and keep the best sellers in stock, and the odd one-offs you don't need to keep in stock. How to collect a delivery charge and make it seem worthwhile for the customer. How to sell accessories and not make them giveaways. So yes, we give them tons of advice, and they would also get my weekly newsletter or have the option to get it. So we always take care of our dealers. I cover the east part of the U.S., so everything east of the Mississippi, a little bit of Missouri and Texas, and then Kirk Grady, he's on the west end of the country, and then we just added 2 new people to our team, Ian Morrison and Steve Crockett. Ian's in the east and Steve's in the west, both veterans. Both have been in retail. We have all been in retail. We know what it's like. We know retail is hurting in this country. We got about 5 minutes left, but earlier this summer, Cons and Badcock, bad news for them. This morning, Big Lots and Metro Mattress both went Chapter 11. Big guys and little guys, big girls and little girls are having trouble, and it is tough out there. But there are lots of success stories. The people who do the right things all the time are winning. The people that, and there's just a few of them right up there on your screen that are growing operations. Our website is, check it out, and I think my direct contact is available too. And we're here. Uh, we're here to grow your mattress business. We love to see people be successful in the mattress business.
So, Gordon, I read your Surge Forward newsletter. I don't know if it was 2 weeks ago or last week or the week before that, even. But what I loved when you basically talked about, the 500 stores now being available and roughly 15,000 sales pros, right?
Hmm.
Being available. And you have this knack, and I love it, by the way. I think it's so needed in the environment that we find ourselves in, 2024 being challenging, door swings being down. Um, we need to keep positives going, but not just silly positives and staring in the mirror and going, I'm positive. But you in your Surge Forward newsletter, you flip that whole thing on its head and you said, now, if you're looking for a new store, there are more stores for you to choose from. And now might be the time that you, as a store owner, upgrade your sales talent on the retail floor. If you're in any of those markets, there are going to be some really great retail sales pros. Maybe now's the time to sweep out that bottom 10 or 20% of your sales staff and get a superstar that worked at one of these stores that is a great professional salesperson. So availability at a lower cost of retail spaces if you're looking to expand, and upgrading your staff um, are two of the positives when we look and we see the negatives. And sometimes there's reasons beyond that business is bad. This is what I would say about 2024, and I don't know if you agree 100% with me. It's hard. It's not easy. Door swings are down, but our retailers are making sales every day, and some are more successful than others. But the ones who are enjoying more success are the ones that are not taking their foot off the gas. They are, taking care of their retail salespeople. They are focused on the customer experience. The graphics that you and your team created, Gordon, that I saw in those videos were outstanding, engaging, a great dynamic presentation in a retail store. So my hat is off to you for always being a positive influence in our industry. You are literally a breath of fresh air. How do people get a hold of you?
Easiest way to get a hold of me is my email address, which is my first name, Gordon, Gordon, dot my last name, HECHT, at AOL.com. Yes, I still have an AOL email address, and I get kidded about that all the time. You can also call me if you want. I'm in the Eastern time zone, 614 537 5997. And you can text or call anytime. And even if you have that weird retail question of what do I do with this, or how do I do this, or what's my opinion of this, my wife will tell you I have opinions, and I'm glad to share them.
Gordon, thank you for sharing your just a fraction of your wealth of wisdom that you have. And thank you for giving us your cell number, 614-537-5997, and your email. And yeah, Chris Tahaney, that is such a good quote. Gordon's analogy about athletes being richer than coaches, yet they listen to their coaches, helps RSAs engage and train at 100%. You don't have to go any further than Michael Jordan or Tom Brady. They had nutrition coaches, they had conditioning coaches, they had, Brady even had a guy just analyze his throwing motion coach. So yeah, yeah, we don't talk about training enough, And if you guys have any questions, call Gordon. He is an open book. He's here to help. He's been helping for 51 years and he's going to keep helping. So, Gordon, thanks a million for being on the show.
Thank you. Thanks for having me.
You bet.
We'll see
Have
you
a
at the
great
next
day,
show.
everybody, and sell a million this week. Take care.